We still have to go through some hardest levels in the game so far, but right now we get on to World 7 now, aren't we, bro? Yeah, I think you might able to actually consider this the actual main factor around here, so... Yeah, I was thought about that. So, hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is I am the one and only Ray, the Flying Squirrel here. And I'm Mighty the Armadillo here. Welcome you all back for the likes of the Merxy Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario All-Stars, aka Super Mario Collection for those of you who live in Japan, for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom, as well as from that, the Nintendo Wii, and finally the Nintendo Switch due to the forms of the NSO services. So, yeah, last time we've essentially did manage to able to get started with the forms of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and speaking of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, that we are still playing this game after all, because relatively speaking, I believe we're now on to the halfway point of this entire game. Well, thankfully though, until specifically next Tuesday and Thursday though, we can assure to you we'll move on to the most comfortable 2D Mario games in this entire compilation. Well, aside from the fact there will be some difficulty here and there, but that's only mainly because of the forms of some of those enemy encounters to able to just throw us off. So either way though, yeah, because relatively speaking though, we did somehow manage to able to get started playing Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, in this case the more tolerable version of the game because of, you know, save system and also not so much stingy whenever you managed able to get a game over and stuff like that. So either way though, because we did somehow manage to able to completely done with the forms of World 1 all the way up to World 6. So today, for this video, we might as well possibly able to predict this, that we might able to actually complete everything in terms of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels before we move on to the next game in this entire compilation. So either way though, and I just realized there are some bit of leaps of faith around here, especially noticeable there is now fire bars in between each gap, and on top of that, Lakitu appears, and son of a... Explain that hitbox to me. I mean, literally, explain that hitbox to me. And something tells me I need to... Oh, okay, okay. Whew, that was close. Because if I fell down there, I can assure you every now and then is that most of those worlds in the game will no longer have checkpoints on us. So, yeah, this could be a bit of a problematic after all, especially because, well, it's gonna make things a lot more difficult and hellish to complete. So, speaking of hellish, here's the forms of the level that you have to utilize the wind in level 7-3. So, and by the way, this wasn't the only time we have to deal with this. We have to do it twice, by the way. One in this level and another one during in a later time. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of these level gimmicks like this, especially noticeable how the fact that every time you're able to hop into a spring, and then you fluke off, and then basically you have to do a bit of a timing work to get on with. Especially it's bad enough about the fact that you can't really tell where you're supposed to able to judge yourself to able to land on that safe spot. Well, assuming of course if you're trying to jiggle the, you know, the D-pad on the left button. But either way though, it's just all about, like, a lot of leaps of faith. Well, exponentially speaking, you have to deal with the forms of the wind too, so... But again, every now and then, there's no checkpoints at all, so... Every time whenever we do fell off the actual stage, basically, you have to start all over again, so that won't be that fun, so... Especially it's bad enough about the fact that, well, as to be expected, it's almost towards the end of the game, but it's just about the fact the matter is though, it can be pretty much unfair at times, especially noticeable about the fact that if you keep on getting screwed over by, you know, some small jumps to make, and all that jazz, especially it's bad enough in this particular section, there's once again fire bars to the mix, so either way, you have to get so precise when it comes to, like, you know, movements and stuff. Well, thankfully with Luigi though, you can simply able to actually use the high jump, so that way you can able to actually go across certain stuff no problem, but even then, keep that in mind, is that you have to also get used to with the forms of a slippery traction of his, so don't forget that, so... Alright, so here we go with World 7-4, and, you see what I mean? With Luigi's slippery traction right there, that'll just make things a lot more difficult for us, so... Well, especially on my case, because you still basically just sit back and watch while I was just trying to able to go ahead and, just trying to go for this entire frustration of this game. So, well, thankfully there's a mushroom power-up in here, which I've somehow already obtained. But, what? I was next to it! Ah, I hate when that happens, especially noticeable if you accidentally touch the wall, basically you just somehow stop the momentum if you try to move forward. So, there might be a couple of times when that happens, when we, try to go through trickier sections and all that stuff though, and it just feels a bit slightly unfair for that, in my part anyway, so... It's like the wall's trying to tell us about the fact that I know we're gonna get used to each other very, very quickly. So, yeah, I'll see you soon, dude. And until then, have a nice fall. So, either way, though, I just have no idea why I'm questioning about this. So, oh boy, it's when we have to be able to just slide and crouch. But, at least in this level, it's not too bad. But the one that's actually is very similar to this is actually gonna be extremely difficult, but either way though, we're just gonna have to like time our jumps, and sure enough, there we go, we've completed World 7. Oh my lord, but at least we can still able to see those mini toads marching out of the actual sack bag. So either way, now let's move on to World 8. How could possibly go wrong for World 8? Well, I'm telling you, it's gonna get extremely frustrating, let me tell you right off the bat though, with, you know, the lack of checkpoints and also tougher enemies to encounter, like, you know, as usual, Hammer Bros and all that jazz. And not to mention though about the fact that it's just, you know, it just gets a bit all too chaotic, so... Although, thankfully though, about the fact the matter is though, well, today's date, of course, the 9th of March today, in this case in 2023 today. Naturally speaking, that the final trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie trailer should be up until, at least in the UK time at the moment, is going to be at 10 o'clock tonight. So, have you got any popcorns with you, Mighty, until tonight? Yes, exactly for surely, bro, because I know for the fact that you are so desperate able to have those popcorns until, the actual trailer is gonna be up. Yeah, especially noticeable, I'm just so looking forward to see what's gonna be up next for, well, we're probably not gonna mention any, spoiler territory at the moment, just because about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, though, that... Well, at this point in time is that, as we mentioned this before, that once the actual final trailer for the movie comes out, we'll most able to not to, like, research on the film too much, just because every now and then until specifically by the end of March or something like that. Well, as to be expected though, about the fact that, well, I don't know about you. Either way, let's move on to World 8-2. Now, this is where the level starts to get really picky at that point, because at first glance, that this might be not so bad, but then you realize about the fact that you might end up stuck in a loop. Like every time whenever you go all the way to the end of a level, where basically it's all pretty much unbeatable, until you've realized there was actually that particular block over there I was hopefully trying to aim for. You see that block I just activated for? Well, we do need that vine in order to progress, so yeah, if you have a first time experience in this particular level, either on the Wii or Super Nintendo Mini, if you manage to hack the actual device anyway, or if you manage to able to discover this on the Switch, that basically though, you have no idea how much baffling this is to me. Whenever I did somehow first discover that, if you manage to realize that that particular pipe will send you around in a loop or something. So either way, here we go on to World 8-3, where differently this time around though, it takes place in the skies. So yeah, pretty cool to able to actually have that in there. But unfortunately though, it might actually get pretty unpredictably unfair at times, especially noticeable that it's filled to the brim with, you know, Hammer Bros, so many hidden blocks that it does contain poison mushrooms, by the way. And on top of that, there is that one specific section that leads you straight to the dead end, until you've realized there is actually the forms of a, well, let's just say an invisible blocks syndrome. So, yeah, you have to activate those hidden blocks right there, until you're able to make it for this particular jump, and then basically you have to able to make a ginormous leaps of faith between those little lifts, and that platform, and the flagpole right there, so... And also I just realized is that if you guys ever played the original version of the level, I can assure you it does have the exact same structure as in the original Super Mario Bros., where basically it shows us the actual castle structure or something. But either way though, let's just move on to the final level in World 8, which is of course World 8 4, where this level is pretty much infamous for the most part, especially because not only do you have to go through a serious amount of those frustrating sections, you know, with the forms of how the fact that we always have to once again go into the correct pipe before you've progressed. But not only that, as I said before, no checkpoints at all. And in addition to that though, it's about the fact that there is that very annoying section that if you're familiar with that particular puzzle element ever since your journey forms have been the past few levels ago or something like that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because this section right here is always going to be, oh, I don't know about you, super hellish, I guess, to me though, just because, well, it's all about timing as to be expected, and sure enough, you have to, like, time your jumps correctly, and then once you've done that, then you would essentially just try to move on to the next section. And again, be very careful of not to able to activate those invisible blocks, because that will also screw you up as well, especially right there for that particular poison mushroom that I've almost touched. And basically, we need to do another puzzle solving, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Just get onto the bottom, and that's essentially all you're gonna do. Because if you accidentally go to the top, basically you have to start all over again with that particular puzzle section. So, oh, screw you. But at the very least, we got the invincibility frames, and we got a super mushroom on top of that. So, this is where we come across into ourselves the... Is that supposed to be Bowser from earlier ago? Well, it turns out this one is a fake, so all we have to do is make our way to the very end, and sure enough, once you make your way to the very end, you will come across into real Bowser after all, and we'll take the invincibility frames, because invincibility frames does manage to help me a lot. So, there we go. If you think we've done with the game, well, turns out, as I said before, we're not exactly done with this yet, because there are quite a few worlds left. Specifically, 5 worlds left. So there's Princess Peach kissing Luigi, despite the fact that Luigi will eventually later on get Daisy, but either way. Thank you, Luigi, the kingdom is saved. Now try a more difficult quest. So meaning about the fact that, well, as far as what I mentioned this earlier, we actually got about 5 worlds left. So let's just go ahead and save and continue right here. Because if you complete every regular levels in the game, if you don't take any warp zones, welcome to World 9. So in this case though, about the fact that we have to go through the entire World 9 before you progress into the final 4 worlds. So in some cases though, what the heck is all this? I'm guessing the entire world usually takes place in underwater and stuff, but look how weird this world can be. Oh, and by the way, something's worth mentioning, if you ever played the Famicom Disk System version though, basically though is about the fact that, basically, you only have to do World 9 with 1 life, but if you lose, that's pretty much it. So as a result though, thankfully in the Super Mario All-Stars version, doesn't seem able to have that feature luckily. So yeah, this level's going to be filled to the brim with a lot of enemies, such as bloopers, Hammer Bros, you name the rest. But ultimately speaking though, that thankfully for me though, this level might felt a bit of a cakewalk up until whenever we get to the point until the 3rd level on this world or something. Well, I don't know about you, Ray, because relatively speaking though about the fact that, well, just gonna have to able to try your best to able to avoid a lot of stuff while swimming in the process, so... And something tells me, how the heck did Lakitu just somehow get in underwater? Like, I know for the fact that before when Mario Kart 7 was a thing, that basically though he'll become a driver after all, well, specifically with his red shell in his back, but either way though, it just feels so weird, you know? But either way though, let's just go ahead and swim through. Wow, this level is also a piece of cake, assuming of course if I was trying to able to dodge something like this. So either way, that's that. And I believe that whenever we get to the next level coming up, I think it's going to take place in the ground. So at least I don't have to worry about just do some more swimming involved. So, and something tells me this takes place in the outside portion of Bowser's Castle or something. Because I know for a fact that it does have a Bowser's Castle theme in the background. So, I guess there's not much else to it with this entire level apart from this particular vine. Which I can assure you it does manage to... Get up there, Luigi! Come on, thank you. I have no idea why they come across with that weird collusion thing right there, but hey, at least we can able to grab some more coins and stuff like that, which I'm assuming so anyway. Or maybe... oh yeah, there are some coins there. Well, not by much, but it's there just for the sake of the forms of the... I would say this is like an alternative shortcut or something, but you can potentially try to skip this level if you want by simply get up there. And then also, not to mention though, you can just simply bypass Bowser right there. So either way though, you don't need to necessarily try to deal with him or anything. Aside from the fact that it just blocks you off in this particular thin corridor and stuff. But hey, at least that's pretty cool for me anyway. Alright, so I believe we're now on to the last level in World 9. And what makes this level so unique is that as soon as you keep on swimming, as you can see, we actually stumbled across those specific solid objects that actually spelled something related to the Japanese language. So, because again, this game was originally came out in Japan in 1986 in Famicom Disk System. So as a result, that's really easy. Probably one of the easiest levels in the entire game in my opinion, just because about the fact that, well, as soon as you're able to ignore certain enemies, then you should be good to go. But that's not to say we're not done with this game just yet, like I said before, because here we go onto these 4 alphabetical worlds. So in some cases, first off we have is World A. So as a result though, this is where the game starts to get a bit more tedious and frustrating at the same time, because relatively speaking, about the fact the matter is though, well, again, luckily if you ever played the Super Mario All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, basically you have to beat the game once, and bam, it transports you to World A. But in the original though, in order to able to actually access to one of those 4 special worlds within not only World A, but also World B, World C, and World D, you have to play the game for about 8 times, and then you have to complete the game 8 times in order to able to actually access to one of those worlds in the original version. And let me tell you, it's a bit of a tedious process for sure, especially that basically, if you ever decided able to complete the game, so excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point folks, because for whatever reason I just keep belching all of a sudden, which I know is incredibly gross, if I have to say so for myself. But relatively speaking though, about the fact of the matter is though, that, well, if you ever first time you've played, if you managed able to complete Super Mario Bros. 2 one time on Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels game, that basically though, if you managed able to complete the game once in the NES version of the game, basically there is actually a star system, which basically if you do manage to complete the game once, the star icon will show up in the title screen, and if you managed able to get 8 stars in the title screen, basically you would be able to actually access to the forms of well, you know what I mean with that particular worlds A through D. So, yeah, it might be seems impossible on the original version, let me tell you straight off the bat. But either way, let's just focusing on World A from now on, just to ensure about the fact that, exponentially speaking though, luckily we've almost done with this game, because let me tell you, it just drives me up in the wall at any points worth noting for it, because relatively speaking though, it just... this game just decides to able to give me a lot of trial or error kind of stuff, which I know it seems kind of weird for saying this. I mean, let's face it though, after we're done with this game, I can assure you we'll move on to the next game, which thankfully it won't be nearly as frustrating as this game does. Well, despite the fact that we're relatively speaking though, oh yeah, speaking of such though, just like in Super Mario Bros. 1 on the Super Mario All-Stars version, basically you do able to actually access to 5 lives from the start if you have a first time you've played a game, which is always nice, which is also applies for, you know, Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA. So either way though, chances are though, it might be seems a nice little addition to like, well, you know what I mean. Alright, World A3, I think it's kind of like, oh, it takes place in the skies again, except, well, relatively speaking, oh god, there's wind! And also bloopers as well. God, what I expected able to, just trying to able to make me lose my fire flower? I mean, jeez, this game is super over the top ridiculous. But either way, we did somehow complete it without losing my fire flower, but it wasn't until one of those levels coming up that we have to force the able to get damaged. So, either way, now let's move on to World A4. So, and of course Bowser was still a thing, so I think something tells me we still have to come across into False Bowser at any point, because I think that World D might actually be the final world in the game, I'm pretty sure. Well, for what I've heard anyway though. But speaking of such though, that this is what I mean about the fact that when it comes to like the Maxi Maxi 10 version of this particular Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, that for whatever reason, he skipped over not only, oh god, okay, oh god, I'm a little nervous. Okay, there we go. Oh, jeez Louise. Seriously, some stuff like that is expected to become ridiculously tough at points, but hey, at least we did, for whatever reason, we did save 5 toads. Huh, I wonder why. I almost was thought it's gonna be like, I don't know, just only 1 toad to save, but either way, now let's move on to World B, which, sure enough though, it will be pretty challenging of its own, so, yeah, nothing predictably that thing to notice. Oh god, I just realized that these Koopa shells are now moving fast, which, yeah, I think something tells me that those Koopas might able to kick my butt at any point. I mean, either way, let's just go through those blocks if I can. Oh, just coins. I mean, better than nothing, I guess, although aside from the fact that I've almost had my extra life back, but either way, oh goodness gracious, okay. Thankfully with Luigi's high jump, it makes things a lot comfortable for us, so. But, anywho, so, something's worth noting for when it comes to the forms of that particular point's worth noting for, that if you guys ever purchased the Game Boy Advance version of, Super Mario Bros. 2, in this case, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, specifically the Japanese, version of the game on the Game Boy Advance, what makes the Game Boy Advance physical cartridge version so cool is that whenever you buy something related to the Famicom Disk System games, basically it gets like a yellow cartridge, which is pretty cool though, I'm not gonna lie, which, yeah, it does kind of reminds me of something related to, yellow cartridges for the likes of the Game Boy Donkey Kong Land games, so yeah, it seems pretty cool to me though, and same applies to those certain physical game discs within, well, I know for one example of this, which will have to be by the forms of Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games on the Wii, and on top of that, Super Mario Maker on the Wii U, and heck, you know, let's not forget ourselves with the forms of New Super Mario Bros. 2, well, only the UK version and the Japanese version, because the North American version only gets this generic, white case. Well, it wasn't until they've later, re-released that, as in red case, to match the actual Mario's color, which is understandably so, and also with, Super Mario Maker for the Nintendo 3DS as well. And heck, let's not forget ourselves, Detective Pikachu as well, so either way, that's all I can say about it. And I think this is actually the last underwater level in the game, if I recall correctly, because relatively speaking though, thankfully we're basically unstoppable with once again, my Fire Flower power-up, so it makes things a lot more, manageable, especially noticeable, because without it, I will waste a lot of lives very fast, relatively speaking, but either way though, that's all I can really say about this. I really don't think that those letter-based worlds does not feature any warp zones at all, at least what I've heard anyway. Well, mind you about the fact that it's been a very long time since I actually looked upon the forms of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, because, again, as far as I mentioned this before, out of all the actual 2D Mario games I've played, this is the one I've liked the least, or what I've played the least of, because either way, though, it's not the worst Mario game of all time, but of all the ones I've played, so far anyway, though, it certainly ranks a little bit lower in my opinion, just because of all that. Again, it's just about the difficulty curve, and it gets pretty ridiculous if you ask me, so. But either way, we did somehow finish the level, so no problemo whatsoever. So either way, we're almost there. We're just almost there before we move on to the next game, which, sure enough though, I just have no idea what I explain about any of this. I mean, relatively speaking though, I honestly found certain extra worlds in this game kind of cool, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I do like the fact that there was actually the introduction to World 9. Before New Super Mario Bros. Wii, we managed able to reuse that particular World 9, you know, brand on, you know, one of those special worlds in that game, despite the fact that you do need to collect, star coins in order to able to unlock those kinds of levels. So, and as far as I'm aware about the fact the matter is though, oh god, there goes my fire flower. I have to do this the hard way on this castle level right there in World B. I just can't believe that Koopa Troopa just caught me off guard. Anyway, so yeah, as far as what I mentioned this earlier, that not only in the Maxi Maxi 10 version of this Let's Play, not only does he able to actually skip 2 levels in World 1 due to the forms of the Warp Zone, but also with the forms of the majority of World 9, because he obviously takes the Warp Zone system, and not only that, he couldn't be bothered able to complete not only World A, but also World B, World C, and World D. I'm guessing it's probably because he just simply give up progressioning into the game because he finds the game too frustrating to play, which I'm a little bit of an agreement right there, despite the fact that, well, again, his entire Let's Play is pretty pointless, but either way, that's just me! Oh, jeez Louise. Okay. Just need to focus right now. And do we need to get a briefing room? Yes, I do. Whew. Oh my god. I can't bear it. I mean, how many worlds we got left right now? According to the actual, how many worlds you've got right now, you've got 2 worlds left. So, does that mean I have to go through 8 levels to go? Yes, I can assure you for this point. In addition to come across into the probably is the most infamous level in the entire game. Oh, good lord. I mean, relatively speaking though, luckily I actually still got tons of lives left, so I'm hoping we won't drain as much extra lives, I don't think, but still. Oh god. Oh, that's a poison mushroom, so we'll just ignore that. But, thankfully though, tell you what though, once we do somehow beating this game, Mighty, we can just, you know, eventually celebrate by, you know, watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie final trailer tonight, then hopefully it should clear up my brain until I stumble across those, you know, frustrations like these, and, oh god, oh man, that leaves a oh god, the Hammer Bro just won't leave me alone. Oh jeez, okay, alright, so, alright, there we go, not doing too bad anyway, so either way though, that's all I'm here for. And the end of the levels is right there, so, whew! Oh my lord, I think my heart just starts to able to just beating too fast whenever I stumble across those ambush stuff like this. But on the upside, we did somehow manage to reach up for about 1 million points, so pretty cool, huh? Oh god, this level right here. Filled to the brim with Cheep Cheeps, bloopers in the air, and also some thin platforms too. And my momentum just got screwed. And not only that though, as I said this countless amount of times already, there's no checkpoints at all. So every time we die, well, basically we have to start all over at the beginning of the level. But don't worry too much though, as you probably already mentioned that if you get a game over and if you use the continue, you simply just, you know, stuck with one level and then you can just simply keep trying. So at least it's very tolerable compared to the forms of how it does it on the NES version or the Famicom Disk System version, because again, if you get a game over and if you use the continue, you have to start at the beginning of the world you died in. So yeah, that's a bit of a nerve-wracking experience. I don't know if I highly doubt if I was gonna do the Famicom Disk System version of Super Mario Bros. 2 or anything else like that as the entire Let's Play. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I mean, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. Do you guys want me to tackle through the Famicom Disk System version of Super Mario Bros. 2? Because either way, I've heard some archaic design choices going on around here. Oh, is this the infamous level that you're on about? Yes, welcome to is by far is the hardest level in the entire game, which is World C3. Oh, something tells me this is based off from World 7-3, right? With all that wind and all that stuff, and also timing your jump on that specific spring. And something tells me if I do ever dare fall off, I have to start all over again in the level, right? And in addition to that though, the Lakitu has now appeared, so... Oh, jeez Louise, how could this get any, frustrating and worse? But either way, I'm sure I might as well get that... Oh god, that Spiny just come through that platform! Oh my god. Alright, at least I got the mushroom anyway, so I'll just hook right there and just keep on moving forward. And assuming, of course, I still have to be forced to get blown by the wind. But either way... Oh my god. Alright, just almost there. Seriously, the amount of wind in this particular game just feels... I don't know. Alright, just jump from platform to platform, make sure I don't fall off. Oh my god! This level just... Get on my... heebie-jeebies all of a sudden. But that's not to say you're not done with World C yet, because you got World C4. I think something tells me this world is based off from World 7-4, right? Yes it is, because you know with that particular thing that, as you mentioned this earlier, that you have to force to get hit later on? Oh, that's exactly what I mean. That's, basically it's at the very end of that particular stage, isn't it? Well, I'm afraid so. I mean, for the most part, that it seems all relatively the same, really. I mean, aside from the fact that, well, I imagine about the fact that if you managed able to go all the way up to the top of the ceiling, well, I can assure you about the fact that it's pretty much unbeatable when it comes to, like, well, if you go up in the ceiling, that if you, like, realize that the actual screen is locked in itself, and then basically though you have to able to get time over and then simply just try the level again. So yeah, this is the part you on me about, that you have to force to get hit, and then oh, it's just I just hate when that happens, you know. But there we go, World C is completed. Only one more left, and only 4 levels to go, until we're basically done with Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. I will say, this is the hardest Mario game I've ever played. Like, up to this point. But anyways, here we go to World D, the final world in Super Mario Bros. Oh god! Get away! I just started this world! Help me. Please. Anyway, now I've basically taken care of those abominable, Hammer Bros, as far as I did took them out. Alright. So, anyway, welcome to World D, in this case, potentially the final world in the game, and I'm just very glad. Because, I don't know about you, because I don't think it's possible for World E, or World F, or, World G, or World H, but... Man, this is just insane. With all that enemy placements and all that stuff. And don't even get me started on these Hammer Bros at the very start of a level. I mean, I get it because of the challenge, but... Ay. At least potentially that, unlike in, well, exponentially speaking, whenever I do manage to play Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels for the first time on the Wii Virtual Console version, that I just cannot for the life of me never actually complete the game, just because the game is already frustrating as it can be. So, well, thankfully on the 3DS and the Wii U eShop versions, including the Nintendo Switch online services, that thankfully there are save states as well, so either way, chances are that I highly recommend you... Seriously, I cannot stress enough about these guys. But we somehow made it. Oh, this is getting too much. This is getting too much. But anyway, 3 more levels to go. World D2. Apologize for that particular commentary. It's not much anything else related to the news discussions at this point. Because, I mean, let's face it though, I just want to get this game completed before we move on to the next game of this entire compilation, like I said before. Oh boy. What? What? It's almost like a pixel. That was a flipping pixel. Are you kidding me? What? Though I do apologize for that particular language there, folks. Because let me tell you, this game is already immediately frustrates me as it goes by. Okay. Ah! Oh my god. I highly doubt I don't know if I can do a speed run in this game, I must be honest here, because it's just about the fact that with the level design such as this, that it just feels a bit convoluted. But on the upside, I get myself my mushrooms, so that's something, I guess. And yeah, it's just coins, so nothing special in particular, so... Alright, I get up to just... Oh god, this is what I think it is. Ah! Alright, good. The good thing I didn't slip off. I mean, god, if you ever slipped off, then obviously you blame on Luigi's physics, didn't you? Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Alright, World D3. It looks like we're going back into that familiar territory, which appears to be the outside portion of the Bowser's Castle itself. So, but this time it's going to be a whole barrage of bullet bills, and not to mention though, there's going to be Hammer Bros, isn't there? Like there's one over there. But thankfully, with our Fire Flower in our hands, we'll be unstoppable once again. So, hopefully though, oh god, that invisible block just almost... Stay back! Stay back! Go away! Go away! Oh my god, they just come closer to me. I mean, why the Hammer Bros come closer to me? I mean, gee, are they trying to taunt me or something? Jeez. Alright, so there's that spring, so we'll just keep on moving. I mean, for the most part, it's fine, I guess. I mean, aside from too much... those Hammer Bros are everywhere. Oh god. Oh god! We made it! We made it to the final level in the entire Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels game! World D4. The true final level in the Lost Levels. And we got ourselves a nice fireworks at the end too. And believe it or not though, it might felt exactly similar to World 8-4, except now there's no point for able to go into underwater stuff anymore, so... And something tells me that pipe down there is inaccessible, so we'll just go straight all the way to the right, so... And exponentially, there's a pipe in here, so we'll just entering in here to go into the outside portion of the level, weirdly enough. And god dang it, there's wind! Okay, at least it's not too bad, I don't think. Well, aside from those weird bloopers just come out of nowhere. And, oh boy, we have to make a leaps of faith, aren't I? Well, unless, if I was going to do a trick by simply let the screen scroll a bit, so that way I can see there's a Piranha Plant in that pipe. So, but if you don't do this at all, you're essentially going to get your lives drained very fast. But at least that leads us to the bonus area for the final time. And relatively speaking, if you ever play as Luigi in these bonus areas, it did show us the actual 2 fingers has been shown up for Luigi. So, anyways, here we go with... That's definitely a fake, right? That is sure enough is a fake. So we'll just ignore him for now. And kill that Hammer Bro, because he deserves to die. And we have to go for the last few obstacles here. And here we go, the final boss of the game on Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. And I can beat it! I finally did it! We've done it. 2 games down, only 2 more to go. Oh my god, now we've finally completed the hardest game in this entire compilation. And let me tell you, it's just all over the place. Speaking of all over the place, Luigi got kissed all over... Anyway, thank you Luigi for restoring peace to our kingdom. Hooray to our hero Luigi. Yes, of course, because after all, Luigi will become 40 years old this year. So yeah, it'll be a nice surprise to be able to play as him in this game. So, and then something tells me once we beat Walt D, there's an option you can able to save and quit, or just quit in general. So with that being said though, I think we should finish off this point right here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario All-Stars, is that we'll move on to the next game in the lineup, which is Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA. So that should be a little bit more interesting, and thankfully it won't be nearly as frustrating as this game does. So either way, I need a break now. So I'll see you guys until next Tuesday. Later, dudes. I need a drink.